The pronunciation paradox. 7 words that fool native speakers too. You know what's fascinating? There are certain English words that almost everyone mispronounces, and I mean asterisk everyone asterisk. Native speakers, advanced learners, even English teachers sometimes get these wrong. And here's the really interesting part. Pause. Most people have no idea they're saying them incorrectly until someone gently points it out. Slight chuckle, self-deprecating tone. I'll be honest with you. I mispronounced 3 of the words I'm about to share with you for years. Years asterisk. And I only discovered my mistakes when I was teaching pronunciation, and a student asked me to repeat one of them. That moment of realization, equal parts embarrassing and enlightening. Settling in, more reflective pace. So today, we're going to talk about 7 words that trip people up constantly. But we're not just going to fix your pronunciation. We're going to understand why these words are so tricky, because when you understand the why, the correction actually sticks. You're not just memorizing sounds, you're understanding the logic of the language. Ready? Let's start with one that drives linguists absolutely crazy. Word 1, library. Slightly conspiratorial tone, leaning in. The first word is library. Now, before you think, oh, I know this one, let me ask you something. How many syllables are you using when you say it? Pause for mental engagement. Most people say library, 2 syllables, but here's the thing, slowing down for emphasis. It's actually library, 3 syllables. That's library. The first R is actually there, sitting between the B and the A, and we need to acknowledge it. Now, why does this happen? Why do so many people drop that first R? Well, it comes down to something linguists call phonological simplification. That's a fancy way of saying our mouths are lazy. Light laugh. When we have consonant clusters, sequences of consonants bunched together, our tongue wants to take shortcuts. Saying brr in quick succession. That's consonant cluster gymnastics, and our mouths just skip it. Practical teacher-like tone. Here's how to fix it. Break the word into 3 clear parts. Libree. That middle syllable, brer, rhymes with rare. Practice it slowly. Library. Then gradually speed up. Your tongue will start to remember the path. And here's why this matters beyond just being correct. When you're in an academic setting, at a university, or in a professional environment, saying library clearly signals attention to detail. It's one of those small things that shapes how people perceive your language precision. Word 2, supposedly. Conversational, slightly amused. All right, word number 2. This one catches people off guard because they've been saying it wrong so long it feels right. The word is supposedly. Pause, let that sink in. Now most people say supposedly. Supposably, but look at the spelling. Supposedly, there's no A in there. It comes from supposed, not supposable. Here's what's happening linguistically. There is asterisk a word called supposably, which means capable of being supposed. But that's not the word people are trying to say 99% of the time. When you mean according to what is supposed or believed, you want supposedly. Slowing down, emphatic. Listen to the difference. Supposedly. You can hear that e'd sound clearly. It's not supposedly. The D sound is right there in the middle. More intimate, sharing a secret tone. I'm going to tell you something that helped me. Think of the word supposed first. I'm supposed to go. Now just add lie to it. Supposed lie. Your brain already knows how to say supposed, so you're just extending it. And honestly, this is one of those shibboleths, those linguistic markers that people use to judge language proficiency. Fair or not, saying supposedly correctly versus supposably can change how professional you sound in a meeting or presentation. Word 3, often. Thoughtful, almost philosophical. Now here's where things get interesting, and we're going to talk about something called linguistic evolution. The word is often. The question is, do you pronounce the T or is it silent? Pause, building curiosity. Most people say often with a hard T sound, but historically, traditionally, the correct pronunciation is often. With a silent T, the word comes from an older form where the T wasn't pronounced, similar to words like soften or listen. But here's where it gets fascinating. Slower pace. Language is alive. It's not frozen in time. Over the past few decades, more and more educated speakers have started pronouncing the T, and now, both pronunciations are considered acceptable by most dictionaries. More engaged, like explaining a discovery. This is what linguists call spelling pronunciation. When people learn words from reading before hearing them, they pronounce every letter they see. And over time, if enough people do this, the pronunciation actually changes. The written form influences the spoken form. So what should you do? Honestly, either pronunciation works in modern English. But if you want to sound more traditionally British or more linguistically conservative, say often with the silent T. If you want to sound more contemporary American, often with the T is perfectly fine. Warming up teacher mode. The lesson here is bigger than just this one word. English pronunciation isn't always about one correct way. It's about understanding the history, the regional variations, and making informed choices about how you want to sound. Word 4, nuclear. Slightly exasperated but amused tone. Oh boy, this one, pause, nuclear. The mispronunciation is so common that we've all heard it, nuclear. Even some presidents have said it this way, but the actual pronunciation is nuclear. Nuclear. Explaining carefully, breaking it down. Let's look at the structure. The word is nuclear, which comes from nucleus. When you look at the syllables, it's nuclear, 3 syllables. The CL sound comes together in the second syllable, cle. So why do people say nuclear? This is a phenomenon called metathesis. That's when sounds swap places in a word. It happens because lar at the end of words is much more common in English than lear. Think about it: popular, muscular, circular, regular. Your mouth has practiced ending words with ular, so it tries to force nuclear into that familiar pattern. Practical demonstration tone. Here's your fix. Say nucleus first. Nucleus. You can say that, right? Now just change the ending, nuclear, nuclear. The CL stays together as a cluster in the second syllable. More serious but not scolding. This is one of those pronunciations that really matters in professional contexts, especially in science, medicine, or any technical field. Getting this right signals precision and attention to detail in your speech. Word 5, February. Sympathetic, understanding tone. Alright, word 5 is one that I actually understand why people struggle with. It's February. Admitting difficulty. This word is genuinely hard to say. Most people say February, dropping that first R entirely, but it's actually February. February, that R after the B is supposed to be there. Now here's the thing. Softer, more understanding. Even native speakers struggle with this one. In casual conversation, many people do drop that R, and honestly, you'll hear it both ways in everyday speech. More technical but accessible. The reason this is hard goes back to that consonant cluster issue we talked about earlier. BR right after B is difficult. Your lips have to stay together for the B, then your tongue has to move for the R, all in rapid succession. It's articulatory acrobatics. Encouraging practical. But if you want to pronounce it clearly, especially in formal situations, here's what you do. Emphasize that first R almost excessively when you practice. February. Really roll it. Then, as you get comfortable, you can soften it to a more natural February. Broader point, reflective. And you know what? This is a good reminder that pronunciation isn't about being perfect all the time. It's about being understood and being appropriate to your context. In a casual chat, February probably won't raise any eyebrows, but in a formal presentation or professional recording, taking the time to say that R shows linguistic care. Word 6, espresso. Slightly playful but informative. Word number 6 might surprise you because the mispronunciation has become so widespread that some coffee shops have just given up correcting people. The word is espresso. Clear, emphatic. Not espresso, espresso, espresso. There's no X in this word at all. Explaining the why. This one's actually really interesting from a linguistic perspective. The word is Italian, and it comes from the verb esprimere, which means to express or to press out. The coffee is literally pressed out quickly under pressure. So why do English speakers add an X? It's because we have a strong prefix pattern in English with X. We say express, explain, expel, export. Our brains are so trained to hear X at the beginnings of words that we unconsciously add it to espresso. Practical tip. The fix is simple once you're aware of it. Think about the pressing action, the pressure. Espresso, that double S in the middle, is doing the work. No X needed. Lighthearted but honest. And look, if you order an espresso at a coffee shop, you'll still get your coffee. No one's going to deny you caffeine over pronunciation. But if you want to sound knowledgeable about coffee culture, or if you're in an Italian restaurant, saying espresso correctly is a small mark of cultural awareness. Word 7, pronunciation. Ironic, slightly self-aware laugh. And finally, we arrive at word 7. This one is particularly ironic. It's the word pronunciation itself. Letting that irony land. So many people say pronunciation as if it comes directly from the word pronounce. But it doesn't. It's pronunciation. Pronunciation. Explaining the confusion. Here's why this is confusing. The verb is pronounce with that ounce sound. But when we turn it into a noun, the stress shifts, the vowel changes, and we get pronunciation. This isn't unique to this word. English does this a lot. Think about pronounce versus pronunciation, announce versus announcement. Wait, no, that one keeps the ounce. Slight laugh, see. Even the patterns aren't perfectly consistent, which is part of what makes English so tricky. Clear instruction. But for this word, remember pronunciation. The middle syllable rhymes with fun, not with bounce. Pronunciation. Broader reflection, bringing it home. And there's something beautifully meta about this, isn't there? The word for talking about how to say words correctly is itself commonly mispronounced. It's a reminder that we're all learning all the time. Even when we're teaching pronunciation, we have to be careful about pronunciation. Closing reflection. Slower, more intimate pace, wrapping up thoughtfully. So there you have it. 7 words. Library, supposedly, often, nuclear, February, espresso, and pronunciation. 7 small corrections that can make a real difference in how you communicate. Pause, letting ideas settle. But here's what I want you to take away from this that's bigger than just these 7 words. Slowing down. Language learning isn't about achieving perfection. It's about developing awareness. When you understand why something is difficult, why your mouth wants to take a shortcut, or why your brain inserts sounds that aren't there, you're not just memorizing. You're understanding the mechanics of language itself. And that understanding, that's what makes you not just a better English speaker, but a better language learner overall. More personal, vulnerable. I've been studying English for years, teaching it for years, and I still discover words I've been saying incorrectly. And you know what? That doesn't embarrass me anymore. It excites me. Every correction is a refinement, a chance to communicate more clearly, more precisely. Encouraging, warm conclusion. So tomorrow, when you need to visit the library to check something that supposedly happened, maybe often, and perhaps even nuclear February, whether patterns require an espresso to handle while working on your pronunciation. Light laugh. You'll say each of those words with a little more confidence and a lot more accuracy. Final thought, leaving the door open. And here's my challenge to you. Now that you're aware of these 7, start noticing other words. Listen to how people around you pronounce challenging words. Listen to yourself, because awareness is the first step to mastery. Thanks for learning with me today. Until next time, keep practicing, keep questioning, and keep speaking. Delivery notes for speaker. Maintain conversational energy throughout, varying pace naturally. Use strategic pauses before and after key pronunciation demonstrations. Emphasize correct pronunciation by slowing down slightly when demonstrating. Keep tone warm and encouraging, never condescending. Personal anecdotes should feel genuine, not scripted. Build intellectual curiosity by explaining the linguistic why behind each error. End sections with practical applications to maintain relevance. Overall arc: problem right arrow, understanding right arrow, solution right arrow, empowerment.